Sweatpants means you've given up on life. The word molt dix.
Oh, which means what?
Pardon my French.
What does that word mean?
It means pardon my French. I already hate it.
And we're back. Collier on the air. This is Manhands and Meatloaf.
Are we live?
I think so.
Totally live. Welcome to the Maiden Voyage of Manhands and Meatloaf. My name's Steve McClure.
And that's my cue to say, my name is Mike McMullin.
We're glad you're here. This is a new endeavor for both of us. Uncharted territories. We're pretty excited. You're going to get to listen to us talk about all kinds of, what we hope are interesting things. You might find them deadly boring.
I already hate it. I hate the way I sound. Already.
I hate the way I feel.
Yes.
Why, God, did you make me this way? So, Mike's going to get us started tonight. We're going to talk about, survey says...
Full disclosure, I am wearing sweatpants.
And I'm wearing jeans.
I decided to go for comfort and break my rule that says non-athletes should never wear sweatpants in public.
I do see, though, and this is a surprise, maybe it's because it's raining, you are not wearing your house slippers.
No.
I got a pair of house slippers that you can wear out in public because Mike sometimes does that.
It's very comfortable.
It is super comfortable.
It's very comfortable.
My wife wouldn't let me for a long time, and then finally I said, please.
I had a hard time with the house slippers and the sweatpants, mainly because of an episode of Seinfeld where George begins wearing sweatpants, and Jerry says that when adults wear sweatpants, it means you've given up on life. And we should add that any conversation between adults should include at least one Seinfeld reference.
I think so, and for those astute listeners, you'll notice a reference even in our name. Yes?
Manhands.
Manhands. That's the one. And then the wife said, so you guys are both men, though, so you can't have manhands because you're already...
We do have manhands.
That's right. De facto.
Appropriately.
That's right. We do have manhands, yeah. And we don't have names that rhyme. Now, anywho, so...
This is going to be very silly.
Get us started.
So, apparently, here's something that I heard earlier in the week on the news. France has decided to ban the word hashtag. They're afraid that too many English words are creeping into their language. And now, if you are a user of Twitter or anything else where you might want a hashtag, you have to use the word molt dix.
Oh, which means what?
Pardon my French.
What does that word mean?
It means pardon my French.
No, what does molt dix mean?
I think it's just the sign. It's the name of the...
Oh, the sign in
the
French.
sign, yeah. Instead of hashtag or pound tag, I think that's the actual word for it.
So, the French lexicon is vastly smaller than the English language. The English language has 1-2 million words?
I don't know.
I think the French language has something like 300,000.
Really?
Yeah. So I imagine they're being sort of protectionist.
This may be why.
Right. They don't want their words coming from America. They want to keep their words precious.
It doesn't bother me.
That the French are that way?
I guess not. But if we're somewhere and there's a French speaker there and I say hashtag, are they going to correct me? Because I don't want that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, are you in France or in America?
I'm here.
Well, then no, they're not going to
correct.
You're
among French speakers.
No, yeah.
Sure, you're decent it up, however you have to say it.
Right.
But when someone else who is not French says hashtag, I don't want to be corrected.
I kind of get it, though, in a way.
Yeah.
I guess, maybe, now this is, watch this rabbit trail into politics. You ready?
Okay.
Hillary Clinton, Secretary of State, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
What did she say this week? That she thinks that she has sort of overseen... how'd she say this? She has overseen a transition in the way the world views America, right?
Okay.
That under Bush 43,
yes,
kind of ugly American, world police, not thinking whatever. So under Clinton, Secretary of State Clinton, she's kind of helped the world see us in a more positive light, right? So I'm connecting this way.
Okay.
I can see where the French are coming from, this sort of ugly American, sort of American expansionism. Everything Americans do is great, and it should be all over the world, the Western diet, the whole bit.
Well, not
I can understand
America.
a country being like...
just English-speaking world, right? Because
sure, even that too, yeah.
There's that thing between the French and the English.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this goes deeper than America. This is going to go way back. 1066, Battle of Hastings.
Is that Magna Carta?
William of Normandy, lands in England. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
This goes back to that.
Yeah, so I get it a little bit. If I were French, I'd be like, keep your language to yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
No?
It's fine. I just don't want to be corrected.
You won't be.
I feel like they do it in a way that says everybody else is wrong. But we take all kinds of French words, and we have no problem using French words in our...
Like, for example?
Garage.
Ah, nice. I was thinking chapeau, but that's actually...
Chapeau.
No one says chapeau, they say hat.
Yeah, it has a certain...
But garage. But garage is a French word.
Garage, sure, as the Brits say.
I didn't know it had
How about a valet?
Or valet,
Or valet.
right? What else? Chalet,
Attaché.
shallot.
Resume.
Ooh, entree.
S'il vous plaît. We don't say that really.
We don't say s'il vous plaît.
We don't really say
But we
that.
just say entree, though.
We do say entree.
RSVP.
Meatloaf is an entree.
Meatloaf is an entree. That's right.
Yeah. So.
What does RSVP stand for?
Respondez s'il vous plaît.
So that's all up in our... That's the French all up in our...
We have no problem doing it.
No. So what we should do, here's what we should do, bring it full circle. We should hashtag RSVP. On everything you do. Take that,
And
French.
Send it to every French person I know, which is none. So
No, if you don't count Gerard Depardieu.
I don't know him.
I don't think he's even French anymore. He moved away.
Well,
Because they wanted to
once
tax
you're
those
French,
income.
you're always French.
That's true. Okay, let's move on. What's next? You want me to give you one?
Sure, what you got?
I got one. Okay.
Yeah.
So, folks who are new to Manhands and Meatloaf, in fact, we're new to Manhands and Meatloaf, but if you're new to the podcast, you're going to notice that we may change speeds, shift gears, if you will, rather abruptly. This is one of those times. So I was thinking the other day, and we're not even going to give you... We're not going to jump in like with a background of our sort of worldview. We're just going to get right at it. So I was thinking the other day, I was listening to a podcast of This American Life.
Yes.
I'm Ira Glass. And the episode was called Heretics. Have I told you about this yet?
No, I haven't heard anything about this.
The episode was called Heretics, and it was about
News to me.
Pentecostal minister, former Pentecostal minister. His name's Carlton Pearson.
Oh, I've heard of him.
Yeah, what have you heard of him?
That he became a Universalist or something.
That's exactly right.
and
So for this...
Yeah, people have disowned him or made distance with him.
No, disowned is, that's absolutely right. So he was a, well, you know this is for the benefit of the folks listening. He was an up-and-coming Pentecostal minister, charismatic minister in Oklahoma. Kind of like the heir apparent to Richard Roberts. He went to ORU, staying with them. Huge church, he's on Christian TV, and he has this epiphany, this is how he describes it, as this epiphany where he feels like God tells him humans are creating this hell on earth. And God does not want to send people to hell. He wants to bring them into his love and stuff. So he does become a Universalist, which is to say...
I've been to hell on earth.
Which is...
Northern Louisiana.
But
go back to your story.
I was going to say, was it in Alabama? But that's not because I think that's where it would be. I was just trying to guess. So anyway, he kind of comes out with this revelation, or his change in opinion, and he goes from having 10,000 people coming to his church services to having 300 people. Completely disavowed. T.D. Jakes corrects him in public on TV. All his friends kind of leave his side. So it got me thinking. As someone who would describe themselves as a Christ follower, someone who tries to be what I guess we would call a Christian today, I can get upset about it. I can't get worked up about it either way.
Okay.
You know what I mean to say?
What he's doing?
About being a Universalist. Yeah, it doesn't make me feel... I don't feel impassioned by the fact that there's a person who thinks that everybody, when they come to the end of their life here, will go on to a better place and to reward. It doesn't bother me. Does it bother you that it doesn't bother me?
I don't know. I guess it depends... Well, I don't know if it even depends. I'm curious what kind of Universalist he is, because I feel like there's some people who they get labeled as a Universalist because they say something like, well, it's not for me to decide.
Sure.
Well, I'm not the judge, so hopefully everybody makes it in the end, and it's not for me to be the one to say, before we get there, sorry, you're in, you're out, whatever. That's pretty common. There's a lot of people who say, I'm not the judge.
Right.
But then there are others who kind of say... hey, it doesn't really matter what you do or what I do. It's all going to be okay at the end.
Right.
And I feel like in some way, I don't know why this reminds me like of a form of atheism, which you think would be the exact opposite of this.
Right.
But are there really any like repercussions for our actions? If either all of us are getting in no matter what, or the other end of the spectrum, none of us are going anywhere, are there any repercussions, consequences to our actions in this life? And I have to feel like there's supposed to be. That we all have some sense of moral
oughtness, sure.
That says, no, what we do here matters somewhere else. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do. I'm thinking about that. I know. So, okay. So, without speaking for Carlton Pearson, I think I think he would say that for himself, he still obviously believes in the historical Jesus, and he believes in the Jesus that most evangelicals would believe in. By that I mean to say, not to get too technical, the God-man who came and was born of a virgin, died on a cross, rose again. Mm-hmm. So he's still going to live in a certain way. He's still going to live in a way that says, I'm going to treat people better than I treat myself. I'm going to attempt to prefer others over myself and serve and love and show grace and mercy.
I guess my question is why?
Well, that's the thing, though, right? Because that's what I've been thinking about. I've been thinking that I wouldn't, if Jesus himself came to me and said, listen, Stephen, just so you know, when everybody in the world, whenever they die, they come home to me, it wouldn't change the way that I behave. I don't think.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean to say?
Yeah.
Because I still would attempt to be a loving husband and a loving father and a man who attempts to live with some integrity. I know there's times when I fall way short of that, but I'll still treat people in the same way, right? I don't think I wouldn't change that. I wouldn't stop talking about the things that I believe in. It wouldn't change my convictions. I don't know, and I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I would do either. I mean, I think.
Well, somebody say this, because I've met Jesus. We'll get churchy for a minute.
Well, insert organ music here.
Amen. See him at the seashore. Lionel Harris, anybody? So, I've met Jesus, and I like him. Right?
And he likes you too.
He likes me too. I believe in the things. I believe he's real. I believe that he really did live, die, and live again. Mm-hmm. And I believe that the way he lived and the way he wants me to live is something I should do, irrespective of... So here's what makes me think of, and this might be the parable in the Bible of the workers and the wages.
Okay.
Right?
Those who showed up late got paid the same as those who came early.
Right.
Right.
So I don't care.
Right.
I don't care how much anybody else gets paid. I'm still going to do the work that I feel like I'm called to do. Right? I don't think that makes me a universalist just yet. But I've been interested to note that it doesn't bother me. Mm-hmm. Like I would not have been. I'm not scandalized about Carlton. I would go to Carlton Pearson's church. I think he doesn't have one anymore. Everybody left. He had to move.
Was it that or the purple shirts he wears? That's what I'm seeing in those purple bishop shirts. Well, I think it's more than just all the laborers are getting paid the same, no matter how long they work. And if you go to a certain point, not only are the laborers being paid, but so are the thieves who were stealing from the laborers. And so are the people who came in and set fire to the farm.
Right.
And burned down the house and beat up the laborers and did it every day. And you say, at the end of the day, he paid both the laborers who came early and late, and he paid the robbers, and he paid the thieves, and he paid the guys who beat you up. So how many days do you have to work to realize you could actually get paid the same for being on the other end of this?
Okay, so so I get you. I'm with you up until a point.
Okay, and let me insert another of my favorite comedians, Bob Newhart.
Yes.
Who I'm going to see this weekend, by the way. Very
That's
excited.
Right. Yeah.
He has a joke where he says that he got a job in the unemployment office. He got paid $25 a week to hand out checks for $50. He did it for a week. Right.
That's good.
I mean, and so in some sense, in the spiritual way, how long do you have to do that to figure out, I can just be anything I want, and it's the same reward. Now, but I've looked up Carlton, not from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
right.
The Carlton of which you speak. And it seems that his brand of universalism is simply saying there is no hell. And so some people in that camp, they're still saying that, yeah, we have to have accepted Christ, and those who did not don't go to hell, they just don't go anywhere.
Well, that's interesting.
Right.
I don't know.
So that's a different thing to say we're all going to make it, as opposed to saying, no, all those who believe in Jesus will make it, and the others will simply cease to exist.
I don't know if I like that, I think, even less than everybody making it. In a weird way, I'm not sure why. It seems... So here's the thing, and these are probably knee-jerk sort of hyper, what many would classify as sort of hyper-liberal responses to what you were saying. But my first thought is that sounds like grace is just that scandalous in a way. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing I think of. And two, it's that argument against the idea of what's the opposite of antinomianism? What's the other thing? I can't.
Nomianism?
Yeah. No, I'm trying to. It's making me crazy. The idea that and this is. I see your point. So I think I'm looking at things through the prism of someone who again has met Jesus and has sort of signed up for his club.
For the record, I've met Jesus as well.
It doesn't matter. It's fine if you haven't. He's met you. If for those who, yeah, this is good. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think. Because here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about sort of that whole idea that for those who have encountered God in whatever real way, however you actually quantify that or qualify it, then they would not then want to turn from that experience and do whatever it is they wanted to do. Now that might be that might narrow the argument in a different direction. That might actually sort of be a bit of a red herring because it takes it in a whole. That narrows the conversation to folks who call themselves people of faith.
Well, I think, just for the sake of argument, if I kind of, we're not really on sides here, but to switch.
Yeah.
I think I might say something that the idea that people who didn't try, or in fact tried to thwart those of us doing good,
right,
that does seem to violate like a very human principle. That'd be of fairness. This is not fair.
That's right.
And yeah, I think you could say to them, well, that's the kind of the point of grace and mercy is it's not fair.
Right.
It's not fair. That's exactly right.
Well, yeah.
And then to extend it, I think what the hope would be of those folks is that God's love is so transforming that those who have encountered it don't want to do those bad things.
Right, which is exactly. So I suppose in some way to see your point from your side, which you were saying originally, sure, if you say to the world, do whatever you like, as who was it that said, whatever thou shalt shall be the whole of the law? I think that was Aleister Crowley. But anyway, to say, do what you want, doesn't matter. Look at life as your sort of buffet. You'll be fine in the end. I get that. That's an odd sort of pitch to make because there doesn't seem to be there's no sort of motivation towards good. However, I come back to, maybe at this point in my life, this is almost an overreaction to so much of the dogmatic legalism that runs rampant through much of evangelicalism in America today. But I think of the Valley of Dry Bones. I think of what Paul says, where this idea that we were, not just like not doing great or not able to do as good as we could have done. This idea of being dead, sort of called to life from death. It comes back to the idea of being of fairness. There's nothing fair about being dead and then someone saying, come to life, sort of scales falling from the eyes, to mix metaphors. Anyway, fascinating stuff.
Sure.
Listen to the podcast.
Last thing I would say, I was reminded of the Didache, which an apocryphal work early Christians used. It starts off by saying there is a way of death and a way of life. Yeah. Choose the way of life.
Sure.
And I feel like within this discussion of universalism, there is some sense of that. I have a harder time going along with this if you could show that people have to at least choose life.
Sure.
But there are so many people who everything about them is destructive and self-destructive that it's kind of hard to say. There's nothing in them that desires the world of God. Nothing in them, and as C.S. Lewis would.
I was going to say
talk about,
a good sort
they
of.
don't even belong there.
That's right.
In heaven.
A good bow on it is that he would say they're folks who would choose hell.
It's not a good fit for them.
That's right. They don't want it. Yeah.
Sure. So there's that.
Yeah, good stuff. It was. I was most I was most sort of fascinated by my reaction to it. But I wasn't like, oh my gosh, he got what he deserves. He should have been.
I kind of wish that it was the same Carlton from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Wouldn't that make this even more interesting?
It would be a sort of.
And he has
beautiful,
Will Smith as like some kind of a part of his entourage at the church.
I guess it'd be his father, Phil, Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil, yeah. Could be the bishop.
So I was thinking, this is maybe in a different direction. I wanted to get your thoughts on something.
Yes.
And maybe you haven't tried this. Almond milk.
Oh, I love it.
Okay.
However, go ahead.
I've switched to almond milk because of
Let me stop you
there.
there. Here's the big question, though.
Yes.
Because to me, this is like separates the. I don't say men from the boys. That's 1950s. That's silly. But it is, I think, an important difference. Is your almond milk flavored?
No.
Is it sweetened?
No.
Really?
Well, this is maybe I should try the other, because I found that I don't really care for it to just drink straight. It's a little like thick for me, and there's kind of like this nutty flavor. I like it in
go figure.
I like it in cereal.
Right?
I like it in cereal, especially cereal that has like, oats and honey and nuts or whatever.
So just to be clear, I didn't know we'd have a scoop, our first ever podcast, but almond milk is a bit nutty.
It's a bit nutty.
It's a bit nutty. So I've only had vanilla almond milk, which tasted exactly like vanilla soy milk. So I do like that.
I tried chocolate in the almond milk. It wasn't the same to me.
Like Hershey's?
Nestle's Quick or whatever.
Yeah,
to kind of make it. I can't just drink it straight. But in the cereal, I'm okay with it. I'm just curious. You're saying, if I hear you right, maybe I should try a flavored almond milk.
Yeah, for sure. And in fact, my mother uses vanilla almond milk in her whatever cereal to give it the extra sweetness. So.
It's good in coffee.
Is it?
Yeah.
Unsweetened in coffee.
Either way.
Ooh, I have to tell you this.
Yes.
Heavy whipping cream in coffee.
Well, sure.
Oh, it's so good, though. It's so good.
Why not?
I don't need any sugar.
Have you tried butter in your coffee?
Yes,
yeah,
and it's visually off-putting. Do you know what I mean to say? Because you see the little platelets of butter floating at the top of your coffee.
But you have to mix that in.
It's difficult. I know, but even still,
yeah.
I get Starbucks on the way to work every day or most days, and I say like a tall whatever with heavy whipping cream, and invariably every day the lady says to me, "Oh, are you doing that Atkins thing?" Because heavy whipping cream is high in fat, no carbohydrates.
See, we talked way too long about the Carlton Pearson thing, and now we're running short with really interesting stuff.
We can't get into how we like our coffee.
Yeah, coffee.
Did you notice something else? The French worked their way into our conversation about coffee. Nestle.
That's Swiss, isn't it?
Oh, I think it's the Swiss.
I mean,
aren't the Swiss kind of like the French, but at a higher altitude?
They're like the German version of the French.
I think Nestle. Remember on Friends, Nestle Toulouse.
It's Swiss. Yeah, I just looked it up.
Oh, it is Swiss.
Yeah, it's Swiss.
But is it French by way of Switzerland?
What?
It's
just Swiss.
It's not. Aren't the French and the Swiss like?
It was. Here you go. It was formed in 1905 by the merger of the Anglo-Swiss Milk Company.
Yes.
Yeah, bought by the brothers.
Farine Lactée Henri. There's French in there somewhere.
Well, they speak French in Switzerland.
Oh, then done.
German, French, in Italian, depending on which part you're in. Yeah.
So it's barely there.
You know what I really wanted to talk about that we didn't get to talk about?
Tell me about it.
I watched this week a documentary by Martin Scorsese, George Harrison, Living in the Material World.
Yeah.
3 hours long.
And you watched the whole thing?
It's a commitment, and I made the commitment.
Did it keep you riveted?
I'm better for having made the commitment.
Okay, don't say anything else about it. We'll hold it.
Okay.
for the next helping of Manhands and Meatloaf. So before we go, we want to thank Jonah, our sound engineer. My name's Steven.
I'm Mike.
Thanks for coming.